Hello, my dear ones. Hey, look who I found on the road to Wellville.
How you doing?
Attila. Well, I thought maybe we'd get more of your questions done this way. And so we're going to keep on doing them. You see, look what I picked up on the way. It's supposed to be a sweet little apple. Do we know the kind?
From what they were saying, is a crab apple.
Well, crab apples are little bitter things. This is supposed to be really sweet, and
I haven't tried.
I like my things. That was bad at the class, I know, but someone started that.
Yeah.
Size does matter.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got here?
This one comes from. Supposed to say the name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh.
So from Josh. Hi, Dr. Morse. I'm emailing you about a problem I've had since drinking ayahuasca. After a few nights of drinking it at a retreat in Peru, my brain started shaking in pain. I became very hot, needing to lay down, and began waking up in the middle of the night, up for hours ever since. Likewise, since then, I have been experiencing a lot of head pressure around the glands in my head, seeing black shadows on and off, hearing mosquito sounds when there are none around, and I am down to about 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night. Would you have a recommendation for me to heal this strange condition? I've heard many different opinions from ayahuasca shaman communities. Some say it's a parasitic energy I picked up. Others say that ayahuasca is in my brain and wasn't programmed correctly. I was dealing with anxiety and paranoia before coming to ayahuasca for help. Thank you for your time, Josh.
Well, he gave us kind of a clue at the last sentence where he said he already had anxieties and things. And this is part of the problem I was talking to them about on the last video. The youth and their genetics. You know, you're talking about nerve rings out the butt, some of these young people. And if you enter any type of these neurotoxic constituents, whether it's the weed or whatever, magic mushrooms or ayahuasca or whatever, you could get a real kick from them because they already reduce your nerve energy. If you notice with marijuana, it reduces it slows everything down. If you're hypo, it can make it real hypo. For those that have hypothyroidism and you smoke, you can get real cold. So.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had tons of folks coming to us with this kind of issue. In some cases, 3, 4 within the same 2 weeks of each other. Kind of talking about depersonalization, all sorts of, low energy, more chronic fatigue, things like this. And I don't know, kind of going towards, something like a magic mushroom or ayahuasca or even like marijuana to kind of help correct that. You have to get underneath not just trying to treat that specific symptom. Again, you have to go at, if you know iridology at all, or if you have a pair of your own eyes that you want to take a picture of, it'd be a good idea to take a look and see where your glands are, where your nervous system is. If you have that plaquing or that chronic lymph up in the head area, the transverse colon area, and from there work from the lymphatic system, correct the adrenals and their function, and work with the nervous system. Because like I said, obviously not going to be fun dealing with anxiety and paranoia. Any type of nervous energy that you hold on to generally comes from your adrenal glands. So you can check your blood pressure, your blood sugar, see where those are at too. But you're experiencing some swelling and pressure in the back of the head. So you probably want to check your cerebellum, your nervous system. See if you're blocked or occluded up here in the back of the head area. Tightness in the shoulders, tightness in the neck. Even if you start to detox and clean the lymph system out in your neck and head area, you may start noticing these glands swelling up in size, going back down in size as you're mobilizing that lymph into these lymph nodes. So definitely want to check out your eliminatory system, your lymph system, some of your endocrine glands. They tie heavily with your emotions. So if you're having a problem going through your own emotions, anxieties, depression, pretty much anything along those lines, mood swings, irritability, you want to take a look at them.
My guess, like Attila says, look at your eyes for nerve rings and things. But the fact that you had somewhat, well, anxieties and that sort of thing, already says that your adrenals are down. And in the youth, you see a lot of the nerve rings, which is chronic myelin sheaths. And so most of these things are neurotoxic to some degree or other. So you're experiencing a neurotoxic event, but you also saw an acidic event. So it must have a very acidic effect on the person because of all the swelling you got out of that and that sort of thing. And there's only one remedy. There's only one remedy I know of. Detox. That's the only remedy you have available. What are you going to do? What are you going to take? I will suggest, though, upper circuit, brain, and nerve.
Yeah.
I definitely would. I would suggest that you build your myelin sheaths in your nervous system. And like Attila said, you want to go after those adrenal glands. That was your big problem to begin with. And I think that if you had a clue to that, I think that we should warn people out there that if you're going to try these mind-altering plants and things, know that they can come with some risk if you are a weakened person in terms of neurological weaknesses. You know, your genetics.
Camel that broke, or straw that broke the camel's back.
Straw broke the camel's back is the genetics. I mean, that you got to look at that. And that medical doctors don't even think of that. They respond like it's like everyone came out with a healthy body, and then disease either liked you or didn't like you, and all that kind of crap. And nothing can be further from the truth. We already come in this world highly compromised, and we were just talking about that on the last video or two. And this is a good example of what happens when you don't realize that, because you now have to get some of these neurotoxic residues from the ayahuasca out of there.
Yeah, and the brain and nerve, upper circ, it's going to help, balance out some of that brain chemistry.
Get the kidneys functioning, filtering. Yeah. Yep. Go after your lymph system. Or you could spend several years like this.
Yeah, it's done.
Several years like this, easy. So, Josh, head off, dig in, and go after it. That's all I can say, because this can make you real sensitive to perfumes and all kinds of neurotoxins too, so be real careful with that. There's nothing greater than altering your state of consciousness by awakening up. Just becoming awake. Stop thinking. Your best drug you could ever take is just stop thinking. The buzz, the awareness, everything you get from that, a drug could not match. I hate to use drugs because marijuana is a plant, but can't give you that level of high.
Yeah, and just as a quick side note, I've known people, friends, family friends too, that have looked to ayahuasca for that. I've had good experiences, but from what I gather, I have not done it. But from what I gather, there's a lot of respect that goes into the whole ceremony, the process, the preparation. You fasting. And,
definitely.
Like I said, I don't know enough about it to talk on it, but I know that that's kind of people that have gone into groups with the family friends of ours have had bad experiences if their body is not prepared for something.
Look at that. I believe that, because some of these things are like the magic mushroom. They're real hard on your body. They're real hard. And you notice when you come off of that, your body is like, it's just real hard on your body. And like I said, I think these are here to give you an idea of what you can achieve naturally. Because you cannot alter your consciousness with an herb or anything else that you can't do already naturally. See, because you have access to all states of consciousness, you could do anything you want. It's just realizing you have that freedom. Handy? Kinda? Malformation in the arterial blood vessel. All right? So, I love this person. Hello, beautiful people. It's got to be a female. A friend of my cousin has a large malformation in the arterial blood vessel close to the aorta subclavia, or whatever. Sorry to have to ask. Why? You don't have to ask. You can ask. Because I am a huge believer in Dr. Morse's protocol, but here I am not sure. Well, that's okay. Can these malformations really dissolve through detoxification too? They can, not just dissolve, but redo themselves. It's amazing to see the body dig up scar tissue or realign the skeletal system. The whole body realigns itself. Hips, everything does that. So it's pretty cool stuff, Hard to believe the body can do this when you come out of so many years listening to allopathy and their ridiculous disease crap and that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's just as a quick side note, there was a lady that we were working with up in, I want to say, New Jersey, and she was an X-ray tech, and she had her old friend who was still an X-ray tech. She had all sorts of connective tissue type weaknesses, and the uterus, and certain things like the fallopian tube, and her female reproductive system, in short, was just all over the place.
Oh, wow.
And you wouldn't really know what you were looking at unless you knew that everything was not in place. And I think I wanted to say close to about a year and a half, 2 years down the road, she went back to the same technician, and she was just totally surprised because it had gone back to its normal placement.
Yeah, look at that. I love that.
It's nothing really special, they did.
Think about this. Acids would weaken, and we see that with the limbs, the malformation of the limbs and everything, but realize the acid side of chemistry mutates everything. Mm-hmm. And when you pull it back, it goes back to its normal consciousness again. I love it. I mean, this is good stuff. Because this planet doesn't have enough of that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool right there. Then we had that spinal bifida case. Now this is a case, she was born without L4 and L5, spinal bifida. 2 years on raw and herbs, she has L4 and L5. Where'd they come from? See, so you got to realize the blueprints. And that's when we explain the God worlds and how that's made out. The lower mind, which is the causal mind, got all the prints, all of that shit there. Mm-hmm. To undergo, let me see here. Can these malformations really dissolve through? Okay, now she has to undergo an operation every few months to even continue to live. What? And this will soon come to an end. What? She's now 29. What is this? I just want to be sure before I present her this information, since I have never even met her. Well, I tell you what, there is nothing on this planet to help anybody like this level. Because this level, the body realigns itself, it re-strengthens itself, and so there's a lot of thought about that. But again, you want to be smart healers. In other words, we're going into the body and detoxifying it, right? Right. But we also are looking at its weaknesses genetically. So we're looking at the cells and we're looking at the fluids. And so when we look at the eye, we're looking at both. But we're looking also where her weakness is. Does she have a connective tissue weakness? Does she have a parathyroid weakness? Do you have a pituitary weakness? You have to fix these endocrine glands. If you want things like malformations to be corrected, you have to fix the pituitaries and the thymuses and all those that are involved in the growths and the consciousness of these things. So that's why we go in and we fix the body head to toe, and it just realigns itself. It loves it. But acids pull it out, distort it, harden it.
Yeah, and diet too. I mean, digestion can be pretty huge with this too, because like you're saying with calcium and the connective tissue, you first have to be able to pull that in, digest.
Absolutely. Digest, absorb, utilize. Exactly. Because if you don't do those, you got to look at those things. So all of those things are vital in the road to Wellville, because the body has to regenerate. Well, the body is already a regenerator. That's just you got to always remember you're in the worlds of duality. If it means something on one side, you also have the other side to consider. You can't just look at one-sided things in this world. There are two sides to it.
And kind of just a little side note too. When I was talking with some folks, through the weeks, started to kind of realize, like, most of the time we're really looking at things through just a cellular level, at best, in some cases, maybe a tissue level, and at the very best, maybe an organ level. In reality, you need to look at this on a lot more broader scale. You need to be looking at the organ systems, just because you see a weakness, for instance, in the liver. You got to look at the whole digestive system, or the whole body, like you were saying. Yeah. It's kind of head to toe. It all functions together as a unit.
That's why it's kind of hard. It's a good point you made up, because it's kind of hard to treat just one area. If you have a liver, you can treat it, but it's a branch off the tree of the trunk. So what about the trunk? Are you just going to try to treat a branch off of it, or are you going to go for the whole trunk? It's just like, and then the head area is, you got your transverse colon that holds the head area back. If you don't fix the bowels, then the head can't drain, and you get all this. That's why we go right for you, head on, full bore, and you do better.
Healthy heart.
Huh?
Healthy heart. That formula too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anything like healthy heart too. Anything that's high flavonoids, which is your berries and your fruits, strengthen vascular walls. Anything that's circulatory or blood, your best bet is to always move toward the fruit and berry side. You move toward the vegetables, then they'll argue K and P's and all this kind of crap. But truly good blood flow, fruit and berries, especially fruit. So I hope that's present. I tell you, if I'm this girl 29 years old, I'm going to become a raw foodist, and I'm going to let my body totally realign itself, because you don't know at 29 years old, again, it could be parathyroid involvement, pituitary growth involvement, local involvement where the ganglia is or whatever you're dealing with there. So all types of things, but malformation, remember this, always pull back in simplicity. When you, anything like this, pull back in simplicity. Everything is chemistry. Arteries, blood, the blood that flows through them, the organs, the glands, everything, cars, table, paper, glasses, apples. It's all chemistry. It's all chemistry. And how many sides to chemistry? That's not hard. I could teach that to a 5-year-old, and in a few days you wouldn't have to go to medical school for 5 years. So, two sides. Which side of chemistry is all this malformation? Because you have to look at it in the respective chemistry. Which side of chemistry causes malformations and hardness and the degrading of a cell? Acids. Well, there's only one system in your body that deals with that. Remember, you have two fluid-based systems, but you have two sides of chemistry. Wait a minute, two sides of chemistry, two fluid-based systems. Could one be predominantly one and one predominantly the other? Yeah, I think that's probably. See what I'm saying? Life is simple. Pull back from thought. Life is simple. Meant to be. Did we answered that one, right?
Pretty good.
Well, that's a good one for you.
Joel?
Gotta be Joel.
Probably.
G-O-E-L. Joel.
I was born with a malrotation of the intestines. When I was 7 weeks old, I had a surgery on my stomach and my small intestines, in which they attached my stomach to my abdominal wall. I've been on the anti-conception pill from my 14th until my 20th. When I quit, I got severe acne, which I am still dealing with. I just turned 22. Been struggling with depression, borderline, eating disorders, panic, anxiety, fatigue, digestive issues. Eyes show weak ovaries and liver. I eat predominantly raw. What can I do?
Notice that this is almost a classic response from 20-year-olds. It's just that these bodies they're getting is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like, I'm 25, and it's like you kind of
yeah, look at that.
Just described like half the people I grew up with.
Exactly.
It's like some form of anxiety or panic disorders, depression.
So we know we can truthfully say that if you're, I don't know, for sure we can say if you're in your 30s down, it's a given you have kidney and adrenal weakness. If you don't consider yourself one of the divine, I don't know, but it's just a standard issue anymore, kidney and adrenals. Remember, adrenals are your nervous system. And if you want to know about panics or anxiety attacks, just suppress your autonomic nervous system. Suppress breathing for a minute and see the panic attacks coming. So this is no neurological problem hooked to the adrenal glands. And there's only one way to fix them is through the adrenal glands. But that's what's coming out here, is all these weaknesses. Now, malrotation of the intestines. Today's world, this is I'm surprised man even is producing intestines. I mean, look at what you're seeing out there. Look at the condition of these small and large bowels. And you just wonder someday if they'll even be born with bowels. The cells are so. I mean, bowels are so distorted. We see this all the time: prolapsing, ballooning, pocketed, spastic. I mean, but what would you might think? These guys are good now because they're going to know this one. If we see a malrotation or we see that things are not being held in place properly, what might we think on that one? Parathyroid gland. Now, this is a young woman, obviously. She's been on birth control.
Depression too.
Depression. See, and that's what that's. Look at the perfect link.
Yeah.
Malrotation. Depression. What is it? Malrotation of the bowels. Could have been, some of them are tucked over, fallen over. So we can safely say connective tissue weakness is involved. Piece of cake. You guys are so good. You can nail this case right on there. Depression, parathyroid. Malrotation, parathyroid. Connective tissue, calcium utilization. Absolutely. So what we might have here is a pituitary. We might.
Yeah.
We know we got chronic adrenals. We know we have probably a chronic parathyroid gland, right?
Thyroid too, possibly.
Thyroid too, possibly. The ovaries, the eyes show weak ovaries and liver. Those are easy to fix though. I eat predominantly raw. The big thing is to get the consciousness of the cells. Go after that parathyroid. I'm going to guess she's got pituitary. That's what I'm feeling from it. So you want to go after those tissues. We've got plenty of protocols up there online for you to look at, or have Attila or one of the counselors or practitioners here write your protocol, or we write protocols here for you. But definitely want to fix this, because then you run the risk of the female organs prolapsing and coming out, the uterine right on the bladder and everything. You run a lot of risks. And then, of course, she's a young female. So having children would be a huge no-no for you right now. Why? Parathyroid gland. Not only are you going to lose, I've had women totally, their teeth fell out after they gave birth. Because the babies, they're going to take that calcium first. And it's going to take it right out of you. If you can't put it back, you're going to see your teeth decay, your bones decay, depression set in. And this is all very fixable stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to be a good idea to support some of the, things through like either the Bach flowers or moonshine yarrow, because this is probably not going to be a fun journey for you. Yeah. Because with dealing with the ups and downs of depression, borderline eating disorders, fatigue, anxiety, and panic.
Well, deworm yourself. I think that's important too. Deworm and defungal. That'll help a little bit of the disorders, a little bit.
Even the depression, just working with some of the people, where they're just total shut-ins. They don't leave the house all but once a week just to get food, basically.
See, you never want to do that either, because you were telling them the other day, get out in the sun. That's what they need to do. Get out in the friggin' sun. You need full spectrum lighting in these eyeballarooskies.
Yeah. So just expect kind of the ups and downs that you're going to go through. Have a good friend, family member, someone that you can talk to and maybe reside in a little bit. And,
she stopped her birth control. And what did she see? Boom! So what that shows you is the suppressive nature of whatever, probably an estrogenic formula, whatever they gave her. It showed you the suppressive nature of that, because as soon as she stopped this, and she was only on it for 6 years, as soon as she stopped it, wham!
And what's actually pretty crazy is later on in life with postmenopausal women, almost the same exact thing too.
Look at that.
He said, Attila, I literally cannot come off or back off of it. Even
that.
when they've tried to work with it. It's they say they had the blowback.
Holy crap.
And as far as the emotional stuff, almost like this, just pops right back out in postmenopausal women.
I think that's where you could use the glandulars, don't you? Just as a temporary bump. When you come off of these things for so long, and if it's an estrogen, a poor woman, she probably doesn't have any systemic estrogen left. I mean, if you're on birth control, this is only on for 6 years, but some ladies are on birth control years, 30, 40 years. You can imagine what it's going to do to the adrenals, and
Absolutely.
but even the ovarian estrogen,
Keep going on the route, though.
I would really, yeah, that's perfect. And I would take off after this and go after my pituitary, my parathyroid, your adrenals, no question. And I wouldn't even think about conceiving until you fix all of this, especially the parathyroid. And I was just reading a case on the last video about this similar thing. You don't want to wake up with postpartum depression. Your baby's fighting to get calcium because now they have a parathyroid. They get into the growing pains, medical doctors call it growing pains, simply the craving of the body for calcium and growth factors. I mean, it's a mess. And then the Andrea Yates syndrome, I call it, which drowned 5 of her babies.
To help with the digestion, too, would be pretty important. Liver support, pancreas support, if you got any undigested food in the stool, gas, bloating. That's just kind of go back off what you were saying with Parasite G and Parasite M. You got to set up an environment so that you can grow your healthier gut flora and things like that. Just eating raw too will help. Focus on gut a little bit too.
Definitely a good idea. Definitely a good idea. Yeah. But you should be able to handle it. Look, 22 years old and dealing with this whole laundry list of things. But eating disorder stuff, remember parasites have this craving factor and fungus and stuff like that. So go after your parasites, as Attila said, and at the same time, a lot of times people are so malabsorbed they're craving nutrition. So you've got to fix, as Attila said, there's these 4 stages. Remember, this is just a sensory food processor. Think about it. Your physical body is just a sensory food processor. And in the processing of chemistry, that's what your body does, is process chemistry. Look at it. And in that processing of chemistry, you have to understand that a little bit. What's the phases of processing chemistry? Well, digestion, number 1. Number 2 is you got to absorb. Well, if you have lymphatic problems, you have malabsorption because that's interstitial intestinal. So then you've got that, and then you've got utilization. And the average naturopath just says, you're deficient in zinc, you're deficient in this, and it's like, you can't call it deficiency until that's obvious till you fix this. How could you say deficient? Because which gland utilizes the bulk of your minerals, including iron? Adrenals. There's those little adrenals again. It's like, damn, you do all those things, you little adrenal glands, you? Yeah. Kind of like a little adrenal gland right here. I need more adrenal power. So we did that one pretty good. All right. This is kind of a long one. Let's go ahead and knock this one out, I think.
Okay.
There's no way I can pronounce some of these names. I apologize greatly. But
I feel bad. I was starting to feel bad.
See?
For my school teachers, when I was little, and they'd look at Attila, artery.
I bet. Your school teachers even.
Yeah.
So they can't get bad on us. The school teachers can't even pronounce it.
Yeah.
Appreciate your kindness here with what you're saying, my dear one. It's under the heading of no kidney filtration after 1.5 years of raw veganism. There's your answer. You were 1.5 years of raw vegan. Not enough. You need to be 1.5 years fruitarian with herbs and maybe even some kidney, who knows. All I can say is that kidney filtration can be hard to get going. And when you look at under the acid sky, what happens? Agglomulation, everything gets hard, tight, you lose flow of fluids, everything starts to form tumors or masses or hardening and swelling.
Stage 3 adrenal fatigue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
joints, low functioning thyroid.
This is only 24-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Now look at how young all these people are here, and it just makes me sick to my stomach. These poor souls are suffering so bad. I'm a 24-year-old female with chronic Lyme. So let's replace what Lyme really is, okay? Systemic acidosis. 24-year-old with systemic acidosis, right? Because you could treat Lyme's all day long and never get rid of it with anything. Detox your body and it's gone. Because it's the same thing. But here's another thing. Same thing. Here's a 24-year-old with Lyme's. Since she was 11, arthritis in all the major joints, Starting to see why everything is systemic like this? If you correlate this and you say, well, what is Lyme? Systemic acidosis. Now, we're going to see all the other things that help to prove that. And look at the things she said here. She's got arthritis in all the joints. What is that? That's systemic acidosis all over the place. You have acidosis all over the place. But easy to understand when you understand that the lymph system is systemic, head to toe. Hypothyroidism, that can be all from suppression of the lymph system, of the thyroid cells. Stage 3, adrenal fatigue. Was there a medical doctor yesterday or something said there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue or something? I don't know. I have a lot of pain in my kidney and adrenal area and esophagitis due to chronic acid reflux. Well, the problem with chronic acid reflux is listening to a medical doctor tell you that it's GERD or some type of acid reflux, because you don't have to have acid reflux to have esophagitis. Where would it be? Interstitial. That's the problem. You don't have to have a blowback up from hydrochloric acid. You could be on raw foods, not entertain hydrochloric acid and pepsin at all, and have what they would call GERD. In other words, you're burning from the inside out.
And just as it's a little sorry to say,
no,
but I had someone yesterday, 33 years old, ileum was taken out, Crohn's.
What?
Yeah, Crohn's, and it was a fistula that was coming through the actual stomach from where the ileum was. And I was telling him, I said, did none of your gastros, none of your docs ever even mention anything about diet? And they said that the doctor pulled them in a little closer and said that even if I would recommend a diet for them, they couldn't follow it, be too strict.
What?
Yeah.
The medical doctor said that to him?
Mm-hmm. And I said, he was saying, he's like, well, at least give people a chance,
Yeah, at least tell them what the diet is.
It's unreal.
Oh, that's all bullshit stuff. If he knew the diet, they would fix him up. I would tell him. I don't know. Medical doctor, I would just make himself
with no herbs or anything, too. It's like, just kind of speaking on acid reflux, too, and, very inflamed conditions of the bowel. It's like as soon as you start eating, you incorporate more of these cooling, alkaline foods into it that are just so easy for digestion. A lot of times people don't even touch it with herbs. They just change the diet.
Exactly.
It starts to immediately have an effect on it.
Well, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. And I've been a big proponent of that all my life, But in today's world, the herbs are really
good news.
Well, in November of and this will give you some idea why she's so inflamed. In November of 2015, I went from a paleo, so you get what protein does to you now, honey? This is really bad. This is what protein does to the body. It acidifies the body. So she went from a paleo to a raw vegan, and my POTS symptoms completely went away, although my doctor tells me I still have it. In December, I sent you a pic of my eyes and did the herbal protocol that you recommended for me. I have been raw vegan until mid-July of this year, until I finally stopped eating salad due to poorly digesting it. Good point. Good point. The more you work this program and the more your body gets pure and healthy, you're going to naturally move away from the lettuces and the salads. I see these guys do it. I see people do it all the time because they become very hard to digest. But with that said, I don't have your eyes here, but Tilla had mentioned it here earlier. Get on your digestion. Go after your pancreas. Your pancreas is your main digestive organ of the body. Remember that. Your gallbladder hydrolyzes lipids, but lipids are of the lymphatic system. So if you think about it, your gallbladder is more involved in lymphatic work than blood work. Your pancreas is the main digestive organ of the human body. And that's for your carbons, and that's also for your polys protein /polypeps down to your aminos. So real important to take a look at that, and that's what she did. She was so acidic probably to begin with, then went on a paleo, and that probably shot her to the moon. My guess is. So I would take some pancreatic, maybe 2-3 times a day of the pancreatic formula. I would chew super good, digest it in your mouth. Get yourself away from vegetables and get on a grape fast. Turn yourself on a grape fast and really clean your body out, and take it a little step deeper. I think you need more fruit than you do vegetables.
That's pretty cool too. She said, I now only eat fruit and berries and melon except watermelon because I can't digest that either.
See?
Yeah.
Yep. It's funny. It's amazing how man digests food, and then when you start eating healthy, the body just doesn't want that food anymore. And I would like to do a grape fast, but whenever I attempt it, I lose my period until I add fat back in. Okay. That's about typical, though. Most women lose their periods when they get into the raw diet. The body just does stuff like that. It's only like, okay, you're okay now. I'm working on this over here. I'll be back. And of course, they get it back and all that. But it's a common thing to see that during detoxes, a woman's period stop.
I've seen it the opposite too, where it it increases right in the beginning, and then they stabilize out though.
They do stabilize out, but here's another one. How about older women who have supposedly went through menopause who get their periods back?
I've had a few actually.
I know.
Mad at me.
I know. Me too. And it's like, honey, you didn't really stop. You stopped artificially. Now you're gonna go to term, and when it's right, it's right.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Yeah.
I don't want it back. Yes.
I
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe it should have gone away.
I know. Maybe it should stay away.
Yeah.
But when you realize, growing up, you always grew up with the idea that a woman's period was a curse of the woman. And it's like, what? Always negativity toward the female principle for some reason. But look at raw foods, how it almost ends the periods. In other words, they just spot, they're clean, they don't have to have these monthly periods as much. So it's just cool what it does to a female in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Wondering if I should attempt this again. I think you should attempt a grape fast for sure. The last time I tried this, I started getting a gray growth on my eyeball, and I discovered it was from a vitamin A deficiency. You can't tout these deficiencies. Plus, vitamin A is a bacterial thing somewhat. So if you've killed the bacteria in your body with antibiotics, it's possible you're not getting your vitamins like you should. But vitamins are most coenzyme things, And so you can't have deficiencies if you're eating raw and you digest, absorb, utilize, and of course, elimination is why you can do all those others. So these are the things. You fix these things, as we're saying, then you won't have any deficiencies of vitamin A or anything else, if indeed that's the problem. Doubt if it's the problem. Never seen it on a grape diet or anything like that. You don't have deficiency symptoms like that.
Yeah, Lyme.
Yeah.
Lupus, fibromyalgia.
Exactly, all the same thing. But you know what? And you just made me think about when you said that. I bet you she loaded her up on antibiotics years ago to fight the Lymes. Because they do that. Yeah. Knowing that it could be a viral or something, it's not a bacterial, they load them up with antibiotics anyway. So, it's just...
I'd buckle in, though. These cases are usually a little bit more of a long haul because it's head to toe.
Head to toe.
And, with your major glands that you need up and running, not up and running, like you said, I could believe, even on 1.5 years.
I can believe that.
You need to.
And if you've been 1.5 years raw vegan, I can understand that because you don't really go anywhere. You do go places, but it's a slow go. Mm-hmm. Until you eliminate the vegetables and you kick it up into these higher levels of FBMs, fruit, berries, and melons. It's big. We've just seen the difference here. That's the only reason we push this. We've seen the difference. I've seen the difference for a lot of years. So we're not going to tell you something we don't see. As a nutritional scientist major, I knew I needed to eat fat. Yeah, wrong nutritional science. I need fat with my vitamin A supplement since it is a fat-soluble vitamin. What? No. And then finally the gray growth receded until it went away. It would have went away anyway, honey. Is there anything I can do to not lose my period and not get a gray growth on my eye from a great fat? These are all natural things that come and go in detox. You don't want to treat these things with vitamin A's or anything like that. Remember, we're walking backwards. We're retracing our past. So you can see different pigmentation, colorations change and go, all kinds of things. One of my major problems is that I can't get my kidneys to filter, and that is a major problem. If you're doing too many vegetables, it might be why. You need to get up to the fruit level. These are the astringents. These are the powers. That's why we push that. Vegetables, pretty much not going to go. I mean, you can get a little better, no question. We can see people get better on vegetables all the time, but so better.
Sweat.
No kidding, sweat. They do blood microscopy at my doctor's office, and they can't find any healthy red blood cells. I don't know what doctor she's going to. The RBCs are all clumped together. Well, you got a live blood cell analysis there, and it shows you. For a raw vegan, though, that's kind of strange to me, because in a raw vegan, when you have enzymatically poor food, that means basically cooked processed food with no enzymes, that's when you're going to see your blood viscosity change like that, your blood pH shift a little and create the clustering or following each other like choo-choo trains. If you're a raw vegan, I can't believe that that's the case here. And if that is the case, it just shows you that you're, whatever you're doing isn't doing the do, because you shouldn't have this after a year and a half. We don't have these kind of problems on a fruit diet after a year and a half. And this idea that they can't find any healthy red blood cells, what are they talking about? If you have the clump, and like I said, it's either a sign of low enzymes or no raw. So if she's all raw and yet her blood cells are still clustering, that's strange to me. Because as a rule, going back on the raw will separate those blood cells into their individual cells again. So they did find yeast, plaque, toxins, uric acid, crystal. Oh, that's a live blood cell analysis, I can tell you. Yep, you had that doctor's office. Medical doctors doing that now? Live blood cell analysis. Parasites and a significant number of liver spirals or whatever. So I think I'm detoxifying, but I'm not just filtering it out. That's what you need to do, though. I've been on your herbs for the past year and a half, and it's getting rather expensive. Well, then get up on the lemon juice and the grapes, get up on the fruits, and do your 24 to 36 hour dry fast. I have done a 30-hour dry fast, and my kidney and arteries and arthritis pain went away until I started eating again. That's common stuff. Isn't that interesting that you have to fast to get rid of pain? I mean, but this is how nature works. But think of that in the opposite way as too. If you get on the alkaline side of chemistry, that pulls the pain out too. She's planning on doing a longer dry fast. Also, my doctor wants me to go on antibiotic spray for a nasal staph infection. Oh, well, I think you should do it, right?
For the last time, no.
God, stupid. Everybody has staph in them, honey. The infection just causes congestion. Hear this. The infection just causes congestion. These guys don't even know what causes mucus. If you don't buy into that, honey, if you're buying into that, you're buying into idiocy. That's not what causes mucus. Not at all. It doesn't even really bother me on a daily basis. I told him I no longer want to be on antibiotics. No longer want to be. I think you need to get your head on differently and re-look at this whole thing of health and get yourself on the path, honey. Forget raw, big and names, stuff like that. Get yourself on fruits, berries, and melons and go down the road for a while. Detox properly. Because you're seeing that you were on the herbs, but the vegetables held you back. I've been trying to get rid of yeast, but it always comes back after starting to go away. You know what? You'll never totally get rid of fungus because that's needed in the processes of fermentation in the body, but get your lymph filtering. That's all we can say is get your lymph filtering. Use Parasite M, about 1.5 drops, about 3-4 times a day if you're heavily involved, or 2-dropperfuls 3 or 4 times a day, and do that for a couple months. Get it way down there, and at the same time detox your sewer system. Look, that white coating on your tongue, that's not candida. That shows you how interstitial you are in your bowels at the degree of your lymph stagnation. So it gets white, but it can totally turn brown. And you can finally see the red cracked tongues. Mm-hmm. High acidosis. Mm-hmm. Well, it's what it's showing you. Your tongue, sounds kind of gross, but your tongue is an extension of your bowels, of your GI tract. It's just an extension of your whole mouth to anus. Mm-hmm. And the tongue is your representative of your GI tract. So whatever color you see, that's a condition of your GI tract.
Yeah, it's environment and the ecosystem within it.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, Attila. It's environment. Mm-hmm. Look at the environment.
It's kind of a little funny thing. I tell people, because we have the window in the office, and I always tell them, I said, you look out there, do you see any penguins? So there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't thrive, they wouldn't live. And it's kind of the same relationship that you'd want to see with the gut flora. And while we're not big proponents or pushers of enzymes or even probiotics in that sense, you can get in naturally. Get back onto eating more raw foods. You have the bacteria, yet you have an environment at the same time that you're building for them. But I can almost promise you it's not going to go away until your GI tract as a whole is fixed. I would not expect it to get any better. Pancreas, can help. It's just like we were talking about earlier in the video. It's that whole system is affected. It's not that the pancreas is more involved in the stomach, that's more involved in the small intestine, that's more involved in the tongue. Just the whole system is down in function. So you need to clean it out, make sure it's functioning correctly. Support. You could probably even go in between something along the lines of like your liver and gallbladder formula for a few weeks. Go onto the pancreas, go onto the skin, get plenty of sweat. Have a consistent diet, because if you want to build gut flora, because I'm assuming you don't want to have this for you want to have this as the shortest period of time humanly possible. So stability is going to be huge for you in terms of your diet. The more stable you are, the easier it is for these type of things to grow. So
you're talking about this tongue thing. In the olden days, like at the natural hygienic fasting clinics, and they had, I think, 2 or 3 in Florida and 3 or 4 in Texas at one time. I don't think any of them exist anymore, at least maybe not in this country, maybe Canada, I don't know. But you don't hear a lot of the natural hygienic movement anymore, which is too bad. Harvey Diamond, they all kind of turned that name for Fit for Life, but I think they should have kept natural hygiene. Mm-hmm. But that's how we used to fast you. You fasted until the tongue turned pink again, because when you stop eating food, depends how toxic you are, depends what your tongue's going to look like. A lot of people buy the tongue rings, and that's just a condition of your lymph system in your bowels. And so, once you clean up your bowels, you should have nice pink tongues. I was also wondering if you ever heard of the 3-day cleanse. It's a mucoid plaque cleanse that I have tried, and it really does seem to work. I was just wondering if the ingredients were okay. It has non-GMO fermented soybeans, red rice, gum, what the hell, and enzymes. It has other ingredients, of course, but none of the others seem bad. I'll look it up. We'll look it up. See back page. I'll have them send that to us and see what that's going to be.
Hold on to it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we can look at that.
You want to go check now?
No, we're good. I thought, you know what, let me put it up here. That way they can get her time slot on that, and then we'll give it back to you. I'll say give to it till. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. Fair enough. This is from Ryan. When we finish cleaning out our lymphatic systems, we are healthy and consuming only fruit. Will we still see flakes in our urine? Would it be like a snow globe every time or ever so often? I've heard that normal blood pressure for children is less than that of an adult. I also know that normal is not necessarily the same as healthy. So what is healthy for my children? I just found a 1984 copper dime in the toilet, and I only used this morning.
I just found a 1984 copper dime in the toilet that I only used this morning. How would that have affected my health? Oh, you mean came out? Well, probably a bowel pocket or something. The thing was sitting there in your savings account. You have a little piggy bank in your intestinal wall. I don't. Amazing. Well, the thing is that you should always see some degree of this. You know why? Because every cell in your body is constantly eliminating waste and byproducts. And you will always want to see this. You're just trying to get rid of the stored up waste and byproduct. But your body's constantly food processing, so you're going to always have filtered urine. And if you don't, that's a problem. Now, there's times when I don't see it always, especially if I'm doing a lot of water or I'm doing a lot of stuff like that. Sometimes I see it fairly clear.
Watermelon too.
Watermelon sometimes and stuff. Okay. But you need to filter once or twice a day, I would think. You know, I don't know what would be healthy that way. That's enough to say if you have tumors, you want to filter till the tumors go away.
I mean, you'd have the all the other forms of environment you take in too.
Oh yeah.
Things you drink, whatever's in the air, what you're putting on your skin.
You know what? I don't know what the blood pressure of a child is. As babies, their heart rates are way up there and their blood pressures are up there, but then they go down. But generally speaking, from 7, 8, 9, 10, to me, they should have the same blood pressures. I don't. We look at them, but if you have a little low, but I don't know. See, in today's world, in checking children's blood pressure, you're going to see nothing but low, for the most part. And so I don't know how you're going to get an accurate reading to that, because we are seriously involved in adrenal weakness with the children. So I don't know how you're going to pull an accurate blood pressure off. AMA, they don't know what accurate blood pressures is. But I think low is low. Children today have low, and you always want to work on your children's adrenal glands no matter what. Mm-hmm.
They bounce back pretty quick too.
Yeah, and children, yeah. But, you know, he made a statement here, and I find it. I wonder if man could ever be lymphatically clean. You see what I see.
Yeah. Someone asked me that this morning.
Did they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's possible. I would say generations down the way, and we keep digging, and I mean, there are some with strong genes out there that don't have that bad a lymph system, so I don't know.
It's kind of more the question they had of, like, you know, when do I know I'm done?
Yeah, when do I know I'm done? Yeah.
Loaded question.
Loaded question, yeah, because the problem is we have the eyes. Mm-hmm. And when we look at our eyes, that can tell us. But then again, you know, you can have bad genes and things like that and live a fairly good life. It's just that when you allow acids to settle in tissue, That's when the tissue is, something's going to happen someday. And the genetic weaknesses, we see this all the time. That's where your lymph system is even worse in those areas. That's where you're going to have your genetic weak areas are the ones that we see go first. Oh, look at this. Conceiving our second child, I had quite an intense postpartum depression. What I'm talking about. And I hate to see ladies do this. This is not fair to them. They need to discover this. So you ladies that work with other ladies to power up, train them about the parathyroids and stuff like that. We need to get the ladies out there knowledged up so they don't go through this crap. Can't expect the medical doctors to help you, ladies, but you got to help yourselves with this because there's nothing fun about postpartum depression. It can actually take you into hallucinations. Mm-hmm. So we know immediately, and she's got a history of bulimia, so we know immediately we got a problem here with the way she thinks about herself and everything else. So we know that you got to go to the thyroid, parathyroid glands. The question is, does this lady go to her pituitary or not? How do we know that? How do we know that you need to use your pituitaries involved or not?
How high she is?
Eye looks, the height.
If there's any like frequent bedwetting.
You can pick up bedwetting, periods.
Just pretty much irregular menstruation.
Yeah, irregular menstruation, pretty much stuff like that.
And then the eye too.
Yeah, the eye, of course.
It's right over to the right at 12 o'clock on the right.
That's where you want to look.
Yeah.
My opinion, you want to look in the eyes. And she's got this history, but this postpartum depression, you want to get rid of that. You want to get in there and fix that. And I also highly suggest you think about your babies because you'll have depressed babies. And their connective tissue and skeletal system will be malformed. This is a very serious weakness because it deals with calcium utilization. Calcium is a major component in about everything, from structure, function, nerve transmission. You can just go on and on and on. So not good, because if you add that with the fact that it's also used as a acid buffering system, the calcium buffering system, well, you're going to lose a lot of calcium here. After my first birth, and I didn't want it to repeat. Our girl's quite healthy, no antibiotics so far, some fevers and deep coughs, but she does have cradle cap, still at 2.5 years. No. And that, I will have to say that as a guess with this mother pituitary, as a guess, because she's involved up here, that cradle cap means that baby of yours is lymphatically involved heavy in the head area. You want to detox your babies, honey.
Skin can be down.
Yep.
System, the kidneys.
Jesus Christ me. Oh, look at this. And did have eczema, which is now clear. Well, if you got them on raw, good work. But that's what you want to do. You want to clear these babies up right now. Fix their problems now. So, excuse me. Yeah, I've been on a little program of pulling. I do not want to pass on lymphatic issues to my next child. Not just lymphatic issues, sweetie, but your parathyroid. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal here. So you want to look at that one too. How long after cleansing should we want to conceive? Well, you have to look at your eyes, don't you think? You have to see you as an individual. What does your lymph system look like? Thank God we have iridology, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Thank God. Do you know how to use that right? The best tool ever.
It's like I don't think it's too crazy to ask. I mean, every parent just wants a happy, healthy baby, and it's like, you just got to do what's necessary to clean your body out so you give your child the best chance as possible.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, just remember that fruits and berries in particular, melons, but fruits and berries in particular, are brain and nerve foods. And we are, remember in the last video we just did, which is hitchhiked onto this one a little bit, talked about the primate brain and the human brain. And the difference from even the primate. Remember, we are 97% the same as primates. We're genetically 97%. We're only 3% different than primates. And we're frugivores. And you have to get with that. And when you look at the brain, remember talking about that that study on the brain and fruit, realized that the fruit is the highest energy food on the planet, fruits and berries, for a high electrical department. We are the I mean, look at the Homo sapien. But take a look at why he's so depressed and angry and killing each other. He's eating dead animals, he's eating food with no electricity, nothing like fruits. People are trying to avoid fruits. You even have the negative forces trying to convince you fruit's bad for you. The negative forces are heavy onto this. Don't eat fruit. It'll make you too smart. We want you to be dumb. I mean, stuff like that.
It's just study after study after study showing you that fruit, in pretty much every facet, digestion,
every facet,
heart health,
every facet.
Remember what I showed you? Even diabetes.
Diabetes, every facet.
Oxford study too.
Yep. Oxford, that's pretty good in that all fruit does not cause elevated blood sugar problems, and that some help to cure diabetes. Well, we know that because, but it's just understanding the different sugars and the power of the fruit. The power of the fruit. People don't realize how powerful they are. I'll say, just put yourself on a 20-day grape juice, a dark black grape juice fast, and you tell me how strong that is. I think it was Marcy's going to try a 3-day beet juice fast. I said, okay, I want you to tell me. You tell me. I did it. If you ever want a real strong fast, try a beet juice fast. I did a 3-day, and that's about as long as you ever want to go. I would never do a 3-day beet juice fast ever again. Maybe not even a 1-day. I think if you want to get your kidneys filtering, try a beet juice fast. Oh, that's a killer, brother. But I wouldn't get too anxious about conceiving and get my body turned around. Healthy detox, get yourself on a fruitarian regimen for a while, and I would also fix my one child. And I want you to be aware of the parathyroid and your postpartum depression. This is extremely serious, my opinion. You mamas don't want to be depressed. You don't want to hurt your babies, and your babies don't want to be depressed. You don't want your babies to grow properly. So this is something important to fix. Now that's a little one.
Yeah.
Only one sentence.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
Maybe we'll pass that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's another language, though. That's a pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
A particular type of pneumonia. Klebsiella.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my husband would like to know if there is a protocol for this pneumonia. Pneumonia? That's got to be pneumonia, right? That's what I'm thinking.
I'd have to think that too.
We'd have to look that up because I think, are you talking about pneumonia or something like that? I don't know. We have to look it up, Andrew. Andre, I don't know. I'm going to pull this to the side. We'll look it up to see if it's what we think it is, just in another language. Now, let's say that you had bronchitis or pneumonia during your earlier years. Retracing it, put it back to you. During detox, you could have pneumonia or bronchitis again. So what? You're letting all that mucus come out of there, then you can breathe better. I mean, that's the benefit of it. Look at these things as positive things. All the mucus coming out, the tongue turning, it's like, wow. This gets you in tune with your own body. And then you have the power. Oh, let me see if I can get this tongue clean. The only thing to clean the tongue is to clean your body.
So this is from Crystal. Hi, Dr. Morse. Thank you for continuing to shine your light on others. Do you believe fruit is the only way to find God? Do you believe people who eat meat can find God? Also, if people have done bad to others, how do they redeem themselves so they don't come back to this world? And what happens if we don't have children in this world? Can we have children in other worlds? Also, with negative people in the world, are they also a godsend like the positive people? Thank you from my heart.
Crystal, that's cute. I love the name Crystal anyway. It's just a beautiful name, and of course, talk about crystals. Did you see the big green crystal I bought from him? Not this one. I bought another big one from the John of God, and it has rainbows of color that looks like galaxies in it.
Pretty cool.
I mean, oh, it's cool. Oh yeah, I had to get that one. That was super nice. Well, honey, you don't have to, it doesn't matter what you eat. You have to learn to stop thinking. If you can learn to stop that mind of yours and step outside of that, you're going to find God. And it don't matter what you eat. But as you're growing and you want to be a more spiritual, enlightened being, then the meat and all that, you can feel it, the difference of it. It's like cleanliness and dirtiness. There's just a big difference in its frequency and its vibration. So you feel a lot more clean and evolved and open and less mind chattering. And acids in these proteins causes all kinds of problems, including thought problems and emotional problems as well. So you don't need the fruit to find yourself consciousness, because you already are that. So you don't need anything to find that, since you already are that. But fruit helps you to maintain it and to feel it and live it more. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily. Let me just put it this way: a lot of the people that we work with, and we have the beautiful opportunity to talk with. Sometimes it's just you have to kind of get a good feel for that individual, of how far you can go into that conversation without having to step on people's toes and things like that. And sometimes just when they start eating more healthier, they start eating more fruit, incorporating more raw, high vibrational foods, it just opens them up. They start asking questions and things like that. It's almost like you give them the diet and you kind of sit back and you watch and you see what questions kind of come afterwards. And, they might have a book or two that they kind of come back with. And so just watching other people kind of go through that type of a journey, it's really cool. I think the food can absolutely help. It's not going to hurt you, in terms of spirituality. I think it can only help you.
Well, think of it as frequency and vibration too. If you're thinking about the God state of consciousness, is that a high energy state, or do we associate energy with that at all? How do you look at that? And so, what you find out is that energy is consciousness, quantum physics. Energy has intelligence. So when you start to realize that if you want energy, you have to eat energy. You have to consume energy. Whatever you want, you have to align yourself with that. And then you can have that. So if you want energy, you can't eat cooked dead food and dead animals, because there's no energy magnetism to that, no electricity to that much. So it's all proportionate into what you want. Just what you were saying. It's all proportionate to what you want to experience. But to experience consciousness and more of the God state, that's an extremely high energy state, and eating a diet of high energy just polarizes you to that. It pulls you away in the other way, and you can feel it. But if you're a strong being, then you don't let that bother you. You can control that if you're a conscious being. If you're developing yourself, you might need to think about that.
Maybe a different thing too with it is when you have someone that comes in, and it's like if you are a person that is going through pain, suffering, and things like this, it's really hard to be able to pull back from that. I mean, if you're constantly in pain, you're in writhing pain at a consistent pace, spirituality, or even pulling your attention back and being able to see everything around you more subtly, it's going to be a lot harder. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's just these little subtle events and things like that you'll notice in your life continually repeating themselves. Tests, lessons, whatever you want to call them. And I think, like I said, pulling yourself back, getting rid of pain, suffering, agony, and these types of things, being kind of just matching a little bit better with the energy of the food, makes it just a little easier. You're not as, in pain, and and focusing on, hey, how am I going to get through the day, and just a
People
different
don't realize
mindset.
how some people are tied to that their whole life.
Mhm.
Pain, every day, Coca-Cola pain every day, and how people get along in life that way. It's horrible. You only see that when you're in our position, and we're blessed to see so much of this that takes a toll. I mean, you sad to see that. You brought up something else interesting, I thought, here, and that is, if people have done bad to others, how do they redeem themselves so they don't have to come back to this world? I'll say that's kind of the beauty of having and working with more powerful spiritual beings, because they can help you work this out in the inner dreams, more in your dream state. And that's a better place to work a lot of this out. Be careful about how much, because if you have too much, you will come back. And I just did a video before this one this morning talking a lot about this. And if you want to stop that insanity of karma, you have to stop creating it, because it's only you that are creating it. That's what you have to realize. You can't worry about Joe Blow over there creating it. You only control your own world. So thoughts are karma. The very thought is a karma, because there's cause and effect to it. Karma just means there's cause and effect to life. And you can explain everything by cause and effect. Jesus just said you reap what you sow. They all mean the same thing. So it's just, you let these things work through you and don't create more. If it was you that were bad to others, turn it around. Start being humble and give love to others. Get into hugging, get into whatever, and turn it around for yourself. And then just let it work out. And what you see, just let it roll off your back. Because what you see could be a karmatic workout. Well, don't put button. Don't let the mind chew on that. Let it roll off the back and go on to the next thing. If you follow it, that's your karma. You're following your karma. Now you have karma because you're following your karma. Karma is when you're out of consciousness.
Next point's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The next point's
Oh, what's that one? Oh, can we have children in other worlds? Absolutely. Particularly the astral world, by the way. Not so much as you individualize and become more the self, but astral and physical, as far as I know, absolutely can. Also, with the negative people in the world, are they also a godsend like the positive people? Well, yeah, you have to, the only way we can expand is to learn that positive negative. And that's how how it expands itself, is through duality. It's how it gets to know itself, the sides of itself, and
Yeah, I mean, a good book you always recommended to me. Like I said, when bringing all these little abstract theories out to you and stuff like that, it's Krishnamurti's journal, and it's pretty cool. Like what he was talking about, just being able to pull yourself back. Not being completely disconnected or void of motion or emotion or anything along those lines, but just kind of, it's a different mindset to go around and not let just random people and events come into your life and change your change your emotion, rock you to the core. Like you said, just let it roll off your back. And like I said, these are some of the best people you're going to learn from too, because if you have a bunch of people around you that are just shaking their head, yep, how are you going to grow? How are you going to be able to stand on your own point, your own beliefs, if you're not challenged on them? So it's good to have those people come around, and like I said, if you can pull yourself back and see it for what it is and not put too much of emotion, be like, oh man, what an asshole. It's just you can pull back and see, hey, what do I got to learn from you?
we have some Krishnamurti fans
Yeah.
out there. We had a lady last class, wasn't it? She's a big fan of Krishnamurti.
Mhm.
I don't know. Someone saw Jensen here the other day, and I don't know. Krishnamurti, that's way too many years for that soul to even be around unless he's working, in these fields. But I like that. We have some strange goings on here a lot of times. And so Attila found a very old book of J. Krishnamurti on his desk. And he said, I asked him something about it. Is that my book down there or something like that? And he said, no, that your book's down there in your office. And then he's got to thinking, well, where did this one come from? We still don't know where that came from. I mean, somebody dropped off that book on his desk, but not somebody in the physical form. And we're having all kinds of strange things like that around here, aren't we? I mean, there's all kinds of things. The class was cool.
Yeah.
Who was that little girl running around? I mean, she was out of body. There was all kinds of things going on. That was cool. So that was a fun class. Mm-hmm. You should have been there. Hope that helps, sweetheart. Ooh. Okay. This is Lynn. Hello, Dr. Morse. My friend had a stroke 2 years ago, now 50 years old. 50 years old. Look at that. I told you, the whole world of dementia, Alzheimer's, strokes, they're going to see them in 40s and 50s. I'm telling you. I fear she has given up hope that she can recover after losing the use of her left side. No, no.
No! No! No!
Can she fix herself?
Well, yes.
Absolutely. I did a 3-stroker. I did a triple stroke. Bam, 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 3 strokes. Put him down. Told his wife to go make funeral arrangements. His wife called me, said, is there anything you can do? I said, get him home with a feeding tube. 3 months later, he's sitting up counting his ABCs.
There was a guy, that same class that I talked at.
Yeah.
He was, I think we were working with, he was on the schedule and we were working with him. He came to the class and I was talking with him, and he had had a stroke, lost function of this arm by a good chunk. But when they went to get, because he'd had multiple larger strokes and mini strokes too.
Oh, shit.
They went back to the neurologist. They couldn't find any sign of it whatsoever.
Excellent.
Too.
Excellent.
Just again,
Excellent.
wild
Excellent.
stuff.
Isn't that neat? But you see, this is how we rock here. Attila's cleaning them up. Marcy's cleaning them up. We're all cleaning them up. But when you realize there's regeneration, so if you've got a post-stroke on your hand, and I would let your friend read this and look at this video, because there's all help. I've never seen a stroke you couldn't get yourself back. So you really want to get on with this. When you stroke, you're occluded, no question, either with the lipids or with the calciums. So you know the way to eliminate occlusions, there's only one way. What might that be? The golden key of detoxification. And of course, we're into regenerative detoxification, so this lady can regenerate her whole side. We see it all the time. You don't have to always be that way. You can regenerate those tissues. Upper circuit, brain and nerve, go after the kidneys, adrenals, you're going after the body. But we see this all the time around here, guys, and there's no reason your friend has to live like that at all. You got to be real strict. That's a fruit and berry and melon diet. It isn't a vegetable diet for this. This is the nervous system. So you got to have a higher level of energy with the nervous system than you would, let's say, for muscles. Vegetables are okay for muscles, but not for the nervous system. Each food has its different part of the body it's better for. She can walk with a cane and brace, widowed mother of 2 girls. Fix her. That's all I got to say, and if you won't fix her, I'll fix her. We'll fix her here. Okay? I can't find a video for stroke victims in healing. Oh, I made them. But, they have gotten rid of a few of our videos.
Yeah.
I mean, they shut us off a few times. We lost a few. I think we're missing several hundred videos on our YouTube site. But I've talked about stroke and heart attack victims before, and there's your antidote. And it's a beautiful. You don't have to live with a stroke, no matter what. TIAs, if you're having little TIAs right now, is hello, got to move now. And that's the problem, is the average person doesn't know how to fix these strokes or little TIAs, mini stroke type things. They don't know what to do. Or ischemia, which is blood starting to get withheld to tissue where you get the pain and a little bit of the breakdown of the cells. These things are not difficult to fix if you get right on them. But this is regeneration, and it's neurological, not difficult. Somewhere down the road, Ultimate Immune would be highly recommended on this one, because of the antler and the ginsengs, tonics and strengtheners. But this is and a mother of 2 girls. Why wouldn't she want to? This is not a difficult do. Tell her about 6 months to a year. Some people come out a lot quicker. It depends on her genes how quick her body can pull herself back from this. It is my hope that it will give her hope to understand that life isn't over and the body can regenerate. Big time generate. You cut yourself, it heals, right? You better hope it heals. But how come some people heal real fast and some people heal real slow? What's the difference? Some people scar, some people don't. What's the difference? It's all acidosis. It's all levels of acidosis. You get up there in those chronic levels of acidosis, like in your lupuses, your Lymes, and your fibromyalgias, it's going to take a while to clean you out. I mean, that's systemic. That's all the joints. That's everywhere your lymph system's backed up. So you can't just wave a magic wand and suddenly you're clean and done.
Yeah, you see it too. It's like where you see all the sensitivities start to come into play, allergies, histamine responses.
Yeah. And you just write, we never claimed this was the easy way and that it was symptom free. Quite the opposite. But you just learn about those things and look forward to them, like retracing. Going back and getting rid of old symptoms in your body that never healed properly.
It's like, I kind of try to bring this up, every time I talk with someone. It's that, the difference between someone that looks forward to those things and fears them and jumps immediately to the emergency room. Knowledge.
Exact knowledge. Good point. Good point.
You can interchange that with unknowingness. You can interchange that with not knowing. Whichever word you want to choose. It's kind of
lose your fear. Just like the tell it says, replace your unknown with the known. That's what we're supplying for you. That's the only reason we're doing this. This is what's known in certain circles. This planet is just not getting privy to this level. Yeah. Okay.
Bring the adrenals up a little
bit.
Bring
the adrenals up. I mean, we're laying it out as simple as I know we can do it, and as simple as you can get it. So, kick back, don't let this be a big deal, and realize the simplicity of life and go after it.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but that's your friend Lynn. Read this, because I'm telling you, if she lives that way, it's her fault, because you don't have to live that way. We regenerate stroke. Attila just told you what he did. So it's just it's not difficult. We got to go. So,
we got to go.
Got to go. And we'll look this one up and see what the heck that is.
Yeah. Do you have the other one, too?
Which one was that one?
The,
Oh, well, you know what I was going to do. I have them coming back to you.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is, send this over to Jen B, and she logs it, and then Chris puts it up, sends it up to New York, it gets logged up, and then she'll put this back in your box.
Awesome.
We love you guys. Thank you so much. Fun class. What'd you think? Mm-hmm. I thought it was a fun class. Very spiritual. There's a lot of weird stuff going on around there, isn't there? A lot of psychic stuff starting to pick up. Fun stuff. Masters, spiritual beings all over the place. That was fun.
Like-minded individuals.
Like-minded individuals. Fun stuff. You guys are the light of the world. We love you. Thank you so much, and I don't know how they watch so many of these damn videos.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We love you, and if we can help you in any way, we're available. Right?
Yep. Take
care.
Bye,
ladies. Bye, guys. Love you.